You see, every single day of your life, there's a silent war taking place. Not for your money, not for your status, not for your body, but for your focus. Your focus is the steering wheel of your destiny. Where your focus goes, your life flows. And the tragedy is most people are not losing because they lack talent. They're losing because they've surrendered their focus to distractions that don't even deserve their attention. This generation is not dying from a lack of opportunities. It's drowning in distractions. You wake up in the morning and the first battle begins before your feet even touch the ground. Notifications, messages, likes, alerts, all fighting for your focus. And the question is not, will you win today? The question is, who will you give your focus to? Your focus is the currency of your future. Whoever controls your focus controls your direction. And in this world, if you don't intentionally guard it, someone else will gladly waste it for you. You must understand something powerful. Focus is not just about attention, it's about intention. It's not just about seeing, it's about choosing what not to see. Because life will always offer you a buffet of distractions. But champion those who know how to say no. You cannot build an empire when your mind is scattered. You cannot build discipline when your attention is divided. People often ask, why do I feel lost? The answer is simple. You've allowed too many things to rent space in your mind. You've allowed temporary noise to silence permanent purpose. Focus is not a gift, it's a muscle. And if you don't train it daily, it will weaken under pressure. You need to ask yourself, who is fighting for my focus today? Is it my dreams or my distractions? Is it my vision or my validation? Is it my goals or my gossip? The most dangerous thief in the world is not the one who steals your wallet. It's the one who steals your focus. Because once your focus is gone, everything else becomes vulnerable. You can have big dreams, powerful ideas, and great intentions, but if your focus is broken, your future is blurred. Your focus determines your fire, and the enemy of your potential is not your weakness. It's your wandering attention. The truth is, most people never achieve greatness because they are busy managing distractions instead of mastering direction. They are busy reacting instead of creating. You cannot build a legacy if you're always scrolling, comparing, or chasing validation. You cannot win the race of purpose if you keep looking at who's running beside you. Focus is the discipline of kings. It's the secret of leaders who rise above noise. Because when your focus is pure, your path becomes clear. You see, focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. The problem is not that you don't have time. The problem is you don't have focus. And when you lose focus, you lose alignment. When you lose alignment, you lose purpose. Every distraction comes dressed as something urgent but irrelevant. Every temptation to lose focus will promise pleasure but steal purpose. And you must be wise enough to recognize that not every opportunity is meant for you. Sometimes the greatest strength is saying no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. In this fight for your focus, you must become ruthless with your attention. You must learn to protect your mental energy as if your life depends on it. Because it does. Energy flows where attention goes. You want to change your life, then change your focus. Stop focusing on what's missing and start focusing on what's possible. Stop focusing on your fears and start focusing on your faith in yourself. Stop focusing on who left and start focusing on who's still with you. Focus is your power. Focus is your protection. Focus is your future. If you don't fight for it, someone else will take it. So every morning before you step out, remind yourself, today, I will fight for my focus. I will fight for my clarity. I will fight for my peace. Because the world doesn't need another distracted soul. It needs a focused mind on fire. And when you master that, you won't just live life. You'll lead it. Focus is the invisible force shaping everything you become. What you give your attention to expands. What you think about repeatedly becomes your direction. It's not your background, not your luck, not your education that defines where you end up. It's what you consistently focus on. Life is like a camera. Whatever you focus on develops. And the tragedy is, most people are aiming the lens of their mind at the wrong thing. They're zooming in on problems instead of possibilities, on pain instead of progress, on what went wrong instead of what could go right. You see, your focus is a magnet. It pulls your energy, your habits, your words, and even your opportunities toward it. If you constantly focus on failure, you start walking toward it. If you constantly focus on growth, you start moving in that direction without even realizing it. The mind doesn't take sides. It just follows orders. If you feed it fear, it will build you a prison. If you feed it purpose, it will build you a palace. Think about a driver on the highway. When he keeps looking at the car swerving beside him, he starts drifting toward it. Not because he wants to crash, but because the direction of his eyes becomes the direction of his vehicle. That's how life works. Whatever has your attention will eventually have your action. If you keep staring at what's missing, you'll miss what's possible. If you keep replaying the past, you'll keep reliving it. But if you focus on the road ahead, your goals, your growth, your greatness, then your life will start aligning with that focus. Every dream you have will demand your focus. You cannot be powerful and distracted at the same time. Focus turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It's the reason why one person with average talent but laser sharp focus can outshine someone gifted but distracted. Talent without focus is like sunlight scattered. It's bright but powerless. Focus takes that light and turns it into a laser that cuts through obstacles. Think about an athlete preparing for a championship. While everyone else is sleeping, they're training. While others are scrolling, they're studying. Why? Because their focus is locked on a vision. They're not wasting energy on every little distraction. Their focus acts like blinders on a racehorse. It keeps them running straight, not sideways. And that's what most people lack today, not energy, but direction. Not time, but focus. You can always tell where someone's life is going by where their attention goes. A person who constantly focuses on negativity will live a negative life. A person who focuses on gratitude, growth, and greatness will rise above circumstances. It's not magic, it's mindset. What you repeatedly focus on becomes your pattern, and your pattern becomes your path. Look around and you'll see this truth everywhere. The student who focuses on excellence becomes the top of the class. The entrepreneur who focuses on value builds a brand that lasts. The parent who focuses on love builds a home that thrives. The employee who focuses on mastery becomes a leader. It's not that they had more luck, it's that they had more focus. Focus is what keeps a dream alive when motivation fades. Motivation is the spark, but focus is the fuel. When you stay focused, you find strength you didn't know existed. The world will try to pull you in every direction. News, opinions, gossip, entertainment. But if you want to create something meaningful, you have to be willing to guard your focus like treasure. Distraction is a thief that doesn't need your permission, it only needs your attention. Every time you let your focus wander to meaningless things, you give away pieces of your potential. And the danger is you won't even notice it happening. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, a few hours on something that doesn't matter, and suddenly a whole year is gone. You have to ask yourself, where has my focus been living lately? Because where your focus lives, your future builds its home. If your focus lives in worry, your future will be filled with fear. If your focus lives in growth, your future will be filled with greatness. People say they want success, but they keep focusing on their struggles. They say they want happiness, but they keep focusing on their hurts. Whatever you feed your focus becomes your future reality. You cannot focus on what's wrong and expect to grow right. You cannot focus on what you've lost and expect to find purpose. Life gives you more of what you keep your eyes on. There was once a man who wanted to start a business, but every day he kept focusing on how hard it was, how much competition existed, how expensive it would be. Years passed and nothing changed. Another man in the same city had the same dream, but focused on possibilities, solutions, and the small steps he could take. 5 years later, his dream became his company. The difference wasn't in opportunity, it was in focus. You attract what you focus on. When your mind is fixed on growth, you'll start noticing growth opportunities everywhere. When your heart is fixed on learning, you'll meet teachers in every experience. Life reflects your focus like a mirror. It doesn't give you what you wish for, it gives you what you concentrate on. The truth is, you cannot control everything in your life, but you can control what you focus on. And that's enough to transform everything. A focused mind is stronger than a fearful heart. A focused soul doesn't chase validation, it creates value. So every day you wake up, set your focus before you start your day. Because if you don't choose what to focus on, the world will choose for you. And the world will always choose noise, distraction, and fear. But if you choose focus, you choose direction. If you choose direction, you choose destiny. Life will test your focus every single day. People will misunderstand you, circumstances will challenge you, and distractions will call your name. But your job is to remember, what you focus on consistently is what you move toward. Your focus is not a small thing. It's the very steering wheel of your life. Wherever you aim it, that's where you'll end up. Distraction is not always loud. It doesn't always come dressed as something evil. Sometimes it looks like comfort. Sometimes it looks like entertainment. Sometimes it looks like something small that you think won't matter. But distraction is the silent assassin of dreams. It doesn't destroy you overnight. It destroys you slowly, gently, and quietly by taking away your focus one small piece at a time. The most dangerous distractions are not the ones you notice, but the ones you accept as normal. Every great dream demands direction, and direction demands discipline. But the moment distraction walks in, direction walks out. You can't chase your future if you keep stopping to entertain everything that waves at you. Most people never lose because they're weak. They lose because they're distracted. They start strong, they plan, they dream, they commit. But then the noise of the world steals their focus. Look around you. People don't fail because of a lack of talent. They fail because of a lack of attention. A distracted mind cannot create a disciplined life. When your mind is scattered, your purpose becomes blurred. When you're constantly switching between what matters and what doesn't, you waste the energy that could have built your future. Distraction doesn't always scream. It whispers, it tempts, it offers comfort in moments that require courage. Think about it like this. Imagine you're driving toward your destination, but every few minutes you take your eyes off the road to look at billboards, to check your phone, to talk about nonsense with people who aren't going anywhere. You're still moving, but you're not progressing. That's how distraction works. It keeps you busy without letting you move forward. And business is not the same as progress. You wake up every morning with a limited amount of energy, a limited amount of focus, a limited amount of attention. If you keep giving it away to meaningless things, you'll have nothing left for what truly matters. Social media, gossip, entertainment, the opinions of others, these are not evil things, but they become dangerous when they steal your time, your focus, your fire. The reason discipline feels difficult is because distraction feels easy. Discipline demands sacrifice. Distraction offers comfort. Discipline requires silence. Distraction offers noise. Discipline builds you slowly. Distraction entertains you instantly. And that's the trap most people fall into. They trade long-term greatness for short-term pleasure. There are students who could have been leaders, but distraction killed their focus. There are dreamers who could have built empires, but distraction kept them busy doing small things that never mattered. There are people with vision who lost their fire because they let distraction waste their direction. Every destiny has a direction, and every direction has a demand. Focus. If you're distracted, you're delayed. Distraction makes you feel like you're doing something when in reality, you're doing nothing. It gives you motion but steals your meaning. You can't climb the mountain of greatness while checking your phone every 5 minutes to see who's watching. You can't build an empire if you're distracted by every little noise that surrounds you. The world is filled with people who started strong but never finished because distraction drained their discipline. They had the strength but not the focus, the passion but not the consistency. Discipline is the shield that protects destiny from distraction. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to your future. Every time you ignore the noise, you strengthen your direction. You must learn to recognize the things that look harmless but are actually stealing your greatness. A distracted mind is like a leaking bucket. It doesn't matter how much effort you pour in, everything keeps slipping away. You can work hard, plan perfectly, but if distraction keeps leaking your focus, you'll never fill the bucket of success. Think of the athletes you admire, the inventors, the leaders, the builders. They are not necessarily the most gifted, but they are the most focused. They understand that to master their craft, they must master their attention. They know that distraction is not just a time waster. It's a dream killer. There's a reason the most successful people protect their time like treasure. They understand that focus is expensive. It costs your comfort. It costs your excuses. It costs your entertainment. But it pays you back in results, clarity, and power. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you invest in your destiny. A young man once asked an old mentor, "Why can't I seem to move forward even though I work hard every day?" The mentor smiled and said, "Because your energy is everywhere." He picked up a magnifying glass and pointed it at a leaf under the sun. The sun shines on everything, but only when it is focused does it burn. The boy understood. His problem was not effort, it was distraction. That is life. The more scattered your attention, the weaker your progress. But when you gather your focus, when you channel your discipline, you become unstoppable. The same energy you use to scroll, gossip, or worry could be the energy that builds your dream if redirected. Distraction doesn't only come from outside, sometimes it comes from within. Your doubts, your fears, your past, all fighting for your focus. The greatest battle is not against the world's noise, but against your own inner noise. Every day you must choose what to listen to, what to ignore, and what to pursue. You cannot master your purpose if you keep entertaining your distractions. You cannot become the person you're meant to be while feeding the habits that keep you small. Every distraction delays destiny, and every moment of focus moves you closer to it. Discipline is built in the moments when distraction is loud. Every time you resist the urge to quit, to waste time, to settle, you grow stronger. Distraction might feel harmless now, but it's a slow thief, stealing your time in pieces until you realize how much you've lost. And the truth is, your destiny deserves your full attention. Your vision deserves your discipline. Every great story of success is a story of someone who learned how to silence the noise and focus on the mission. Every person who ever achieved greatness had to fight this same invisible enemy, distraction. They understood that the cost of greatness is attention, and the price of distraction is regret. Life is full of noise. Everyone wants your attention. Everything wants your reaction. You walk into the world and 1,000 voices start shouting at once. Notifications, opinions, fears, responsibilities, temptations, worries, goals, dreams, and distractions. The average person tries to see it all, hear it all, do it all, and ends up becoming nothing at all. The wise ones, the disciplined ones, the focused ones, they know the secret. Focus is not about seeing everything. It's about choosing what not to see. When you try to see everything, you blur your own vision. When you try to do everything, you dilute your own power. And when you try to please everyone, you lose yourself in the process. Focus is not about having wide vision. It's about having deep vision. It's about knowing what deserves your sight and what deserves your silence. You must learn the art of ignoring. Because your success, your peace, your growth will depend not on how much you notice, but on what you intentionally overlook. Think about a camera. It doesn't capture the whole world at once. It focuses on one frame, one subject, one story. Everything outside that focus blurs. That's how your life must work. You must learn to blur out the noise that doesn't serve your purpose. When you focus too wide, you lose clarity. But when you focus deep, you create power. The most successful people you see didn't get there because they saw everything. They got there because they learned what not to see. They didn't chase every opportunity. They didn't respond to every distraction. They didn't give energy to every opinion. They protected their focus like treasure. Imagine a student preparing for a major exam. There are parties happening, there are new shows releasing, there are friends calling, social media buzzing. Everything is calling their name. But the one who wins is not the one who sees it all. It's the one who chooses what not to see. They block the noise, they close the door, they turn off notifications, and they fix their eyes on the goal. While others are watching everything, they are watching one thing, their purpose. Focus is not about being blind, it's about being selective. Life gives you endless choices, but focus gives you direction. You can't reach your destination if you keep taking every turn that looks interesting. You can't finish your race if you keep stopping to watch everyone else run. Your focus must become sacred. It's the filter that decides what deserves to enter your mind and what deserves to be ignored. The reason so many people feel tired and lost is because they keep giving their energy to things that don't matter. Every argument, every trend, every drama, every opinion, they keep trying to see it all. And in the process, they lose the energy that could have built their dream. Your brain is not designed to chase everything. Your soul is not built to carry every noise. You must train your eyes to look away from distractions, your ears to ignore the nonsense, and your heart to stay steady when life tries to pull you in 100 directions. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to respond to every critic. You don't have to prove yourself to every doubter. That's not focus. That's fear disguised as effort. Focus means understanding that your purpose is bigger than your distractions. It means saying no without guilt. It means walking away from things that steal your peace, no matter how shiny they look. Imagine a sculptor chiseling a statue from a block of stone. He doesn't look at every piece of marble. He doesn't get distracted by the dust falling off. He sees the vision inside and focuses only on what needs to be shaped. Everything else, he chooses not to see. That's focus. That's the discipline of direction. You will never be able to create greatness until you learn to ignore the good things that don't align with your purpose. Sometimes what destroys your focus isn't failure. It's too many good options, too many side roads, too many half-open doors, too many distractions dressed as opportunities. Focus is not just saying yes to your dream. It's saying no to everything that doesn't feed it. You see, life will always try to divide your attention. It will throw problems, people, and possibilities at you to test what truly matters to you. Focus is not about being strong. It's about being clear. Once you're clear on what matters, saying no becomes an act of power. Every time you say no to something meaningless, you say yes to something priceless. Your purpose, your peace, your progress. There was once a young athlete who dreamed of becoming a champion. He had the talent, but his attention was divided. He wanted to train, but he also wanted to party, to impress, to relax. One day, his coach said, "You're trying to see too much. A champion doesn't see everything. He only sees the finish line." That line changed his life. He stopped seeing distractions and his eyes locked on his goal. Years later, he became a world champion not because he was the fastest, but because he was the most focused. The same principle applies to you. If you want to build something powerful, you must narrow your vision. Focus is like a beam of light. When it's spread out, it lights everything but burns nothing. But when it's concentrated, it can cut through steel. Your life works the same way. The moment you decide what not to see, your power multiplies. So when people talk about you, choose not to see it. When distractions come disguised as opportunities, choose not to see them. When fear shows up pretending to protect you, choose not to see it. Focus is the power to look away from what doesn't matter so you can look deeply into what does. Every time you choose not to see the noise, you strengthen your vision. Every time you choose not to be distracted, you sharpen your direction. Life doesn't reward the one who sees it all. It rewards the one who sees what matters and gives it everything they've got. Your focus is not just attention, it's authority. It decides what direction your life takes. Every thought, every decision, every action starts with where your focus is placed. Your focus is like the steering wheel of your soul. Whoever grabs it drives your future. That's why the most dangerous thing in the world is not losing money or opportunity, it's losing control of your focus. Because once someone else controls your focus, they start shaping the story of your life without your permission. Look at the world around you. Every advertisement, every app, every platform, every opinion is fighting for one thing: your focus. They want your eyes, your ears, your emotions, your energy. They want you to give them the most valuable thing you have, your attention. The world doesn't need to chain your body to control you. It only needs to capture your focus. Because if it can make you look long enough, it can make you believe. And if it can make you believe, it can make you become. Think about it. When you spend hours scrolling through negativity, gossip, and comparison, your mind starts reflecting what you see. You start measuring your worth through the highlight reels of other people. You start doubting your own path, forgetting your purpose, and living distracted. Whoever owns your focus owns your feelings. And whoever owns your feelings owns your future. You have to guard your focus like it's gold, because it is. Imagine a person driving on a highway. They have a destination, but every time a billboard catches their eye, they take an exit. Eventually, they end up lost, tired, and far from where they were meant to be. That's exactly how most people live. They allow the world to hijack their focus and then wonder why their life feels directionless. The people who rise above mediocrity are not the ones who never face distractions. They're the ones who refuse to give their focus to things that don't deserve it. They understand that focus is fuel. Wherever you pour it, something grows. If you pour it into fear, fear grows. If you pour it into faith, faith grows. If you pour it into negativity, negativity multiplies. If you pour it into purpose, purpose blooms. Every great leader, every builder, every visionary understood this. They didn't just protect their time, they protected their focus. Because time without focus is wasted life. You can spend 8 hours working and achieve nothing if your focus was scattered. But give 1 hour of pure, undistracted focus to your vision, and you can move mountains. There was once a young man who dreamed of becoming successful. But every time he started something, he got pulled away by opinions. He cared too much about what people thought. One day, an older man told him, your life feels heavy because too many people are carrying your focus. That moment changed him. He realized that he was letting others drive his destiny. He took back control, focused on his vision, and his life transformed. The truth is, the world is full of noise designed to pull your focus away from what really matters. Politics, trends, competition, opinions. These things are distractions dressed as importance. They make you feel busy while keeping you blind. The moment you focus on them, they start shaping your emotions, your habits, your future. Your destiny starts drifting in the direction of whatever you consistently look at. If you want to change your life, you don't start with your circumstances, you start with your focus. If you want to change your future, you change what you look at daily. Stop feeding your attention to what drains you. Stop allowing temporary things to dictate your permanent direction. You can't live a life of purpose when your focus is rented out to everything around you. You see it everywhere. A student wants to study, but their phone keeps vibrating. They look at it just for a minute, and that minute becomes an hour. Focus stolen. A worker dreams of starting a business, but instead of building, they spend hours comparing themselves to others online. Focus stolen. A dreamer wants to write, to create, to grow, but they let distractions occupy their mind until they forget what they were capable of. Focus stolen. Your destiny is written by what captures your attention. If gossip holds your focus, your life will be filled with noise. If fear holds your focus, your path will be filled with hesitation. If faith holds your focus, your journey will be filled with strength. Whatever controls your focus controls your fate. You must decide who gets access to your focus. Because if you don't choose, someone else will. Companies are spending millions just to get seconds of your attention. They know that once they have your eyes, they have your emotions. Once they have your emotions, they have your decisions. And your decisions, day after day, write your destiny. Focus is like fire. It can build or it can burn. When you control it, it lights your path. When you lose control, it consumes your purpose. So you must become intentional. Ask yourself daily, what has my focus today? Am I feeding my distractions or am I feeding my destiny? There's a story of an eagle flying over a mountain. It sees a snake slithering below and swoops down. The snake coils around the eagle's leg, trying to drag it down. The eagle doesn't fight on the ground. It lifts higher, higher into the sky until the snake loses strength. That's what focus does. It lifts you above the noise that tries to pull you down. You don't defeat distractions by fighting them. You defeat them by rising above them with focus. Whoever controls your focus controls your destiny. So take it back. Take it from the world, from fear, from negativity, from doubt. Because the moment you decide what deserves your focus, you begin shaping the story of your life on your own terms. Whoever or whatever owns your focus today is already writing the script of your tomorrow. Most people think success is about addition. They think it's about adding more goals, more work, more contacts, more hustle. They think the more they do, the more successful they'll become. But the truth is, success has less to do with what you add and everything to do with what you remove. Success begins when you start subtracting what doesn't serve your vision. It's about learning to say no to the noise that keeps you from hearing your purpose. The noise comes in many forms. Sometimes it's people who drain your energy. Sometimes it's habits that waste your time. Sometimes it's fears that whisper you're not ready. The noise is anything that distracts you from direction, anything that pulls you away from your purpose. And if you want to rise higher, you have to travel lighter. You cannot climb a mountain while holding on to everything that weighs you down. Think about your phone for a moment. When too many apps are running, it starts to slow down, freeze, and drain battery fast. But the moment you close the unnecessary apps, everything works faster. Your mind works the same way. When too many things are running inside it, worries, distractions, unnecessary obligations, you start losing power. You start slowing down. Success requires the courage to shut down what's not essential, to silence the background noise so your focus can breathe again. Most people don't fail because they don't have talent. They fail because they don't have clarity. They are trying to do everything at once, trying to please everyone, trying to chase every opportunity. They spread themselves so thin that nothing grows. You cannot master what you won't prioritize. Success doesn't belong to those who do the most. It belongs to those who do what matters most. You have to learn the art of subtraction. It means letting go of the things that are good so you can make space for the things that are great. It means walking away from activities that look busy but add no value to your vision. It means cutting ties with people who keep you stuck in circles instead of pushing you forward. It means saying no to temporary comfort so you can say yes to permanent growth. Look at nature. When a tree grows too many branches that drain its energy, a gardener prunes it. It may look painful, but that pruning helps the tree grow stronger, taller, more fruitful. In the same way, your life needs pruning. If you want to grow, you must cut. You must remove the unnecessary so your energy can flow into what truly matters. There's a powerful story of a man who wanted to climb a mountain. He started his journey carrying a heavy backpack filled with food, tools, and souvenirs. At first, he felt strong. But as the climb got harder, his load became heavier. He began to slow down, exhausted. Then he met an old climber who told him, "The higher you go, the less you can carry." The man looked into his bag and started throwing things away, extra food, tools, useless items. With each thing he removed, he became lighter, faster, freer. That's how he reached the top. Life works the same way. If you want to go higher, you have to subtract what's unnecessary. The road to success is not crowded because most people can't handle the silence that comes with saying no. They want to keep the noise because it feels comfortable. They want to stay busy because it feels productive. But business is not the same as progress. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your future is to stop. Stop chasing every idea. Stop saying yes to everyone. Stop filling your days with things that don't feed your purpose. There's a voice inside you that gets drowned by the noise of the world. It's the voice of your vision, the whisper of your destiny. But you can't hear it when you're surrounded by too many distractions. Success begins when you create space for silence, when you give your purpose room to speak. You can't listen to the melody of your destiny while you're dancing to the noise of the crowd. People who rise above average understand this. They don't waste energy explaining their decisions. They know what to say no to. They say no to drama, to gossip, to negativity, to meaningless comparisons. They say no to the urge to fit in. Because every yes costs you something, and if you keep saying yes to everything, you'll run out of energy for the things that matter most. Learning to say no doesn't make you rude. It makes you responsible. It means you understand that your time, your focus, your peace are sacred. Not everyone deserves access to them. Every yes you give should be intentional because your yes is a seed. If you plant it in the wrong place, it will never grow. In a world that glorifies hustle, subtraction feels strange. People will tell you to keep going, to do more, to stay busy. But sometimes progress requires pause. Sometimes forward motion requires cutting things loose. You can't build an empire on cluttered priorities. You can't write a masterpiece while listening to the noise of mediocrity. Look at an artist painting a picture. In the beginning, there are hundreds of strokes, layers, and colors. But as the painting nears perfection, the artist starts removing, simplifying, refining. Every stroke becomes deliberate. That's what success looks like. It's not chaos, it's clarity. It's the power to choose what stays and what goes. Think of your goals as a fire. Every log you add should feed that fire. But most people keep throwing in wet wood, distractions, unnecessary commitments, toxic relationships, and then wonder why their fire won't burn. Success means removing what suffocates your flame. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who did everything. They're the ones who focused on what mattered most and cut everything else. They mastered subtraction. They learned that simplicity is power. They learned that every time you say no to something that doesn't matter, you say yes to something that could change your life. You don't need to do more to succeed. You need to focus more, remove more, silence more. Every distraction you eliminate is another step toward your destiny. Success doesn't just require effort. It requires editing. It's not about filling your life. It's about freeing it. Every no you say to the noise brings you closer to the sound of your purpose. In a world where everyone is trying to do everything at once, strength isn't found in chaos. It's found in clarity. Real strength is not in being busy. It's in being effective. The strongest people you'll ever meet aren't the ones chasing every opportunity, attending every event, or saying yes to every demand. They are the ones who have learned the sacred art of focus, who understand that doing a few things with excellence is far greater than doing many things with mediocrity. Most people mistake movement for progress. They wake up early, rush through the day, cross off tasks, and yet feel empty when night falls. Because activity doesn't equal achievement. You can run in circles all day and still end up in the same place. But those who understand the power of consistency Those who do the right things day after day, even when no one's watching, they are the ones who build legacies that last. Look at the gym. The person who trains once in a while with all the energy in the world, but disappears for weeks, will never transform. But the one who shows up every single day, even when tired, even when unmotivated, that's the one who builds real strength. The same law applies in every area of life. Success doesn't belong to the explosive, it belongs to the consistent. It's not about intensity once, it's about persistence always. The strongest people know that consistency is not glamorous. It's quiet, it's repetitive, and it's often unseen. It's waking up to read when you don't feel like it. It's working on your craft when no one is clapping. It's showing discipline when distractions are louder than dreams. People won't see your process, they'll only see your results. But what they call overnight success is really years of consistent right actions stacked on top of each other. There's a simple truth that separates the average from the exceptional. The average do what's convenient, the exceptional do what's necessary. Everyone wants results, but few want routine. Everyone wants growth, but few are willing to grind. Consistency means choosing progress over comfort, discipline over desire, and commitment over excuses. Think about a sculptor shaping a statue from a block of stone. Every single strike of the hammer looks small and insignificant. But with each strike, something begins to take form. He doesn't see results immediately, but he keeps going. Days turn to weeks, and slowly beauty emerges. That's what consistency does. It shapes greatness one disciplined action at a time. We live in an era where people glorify multitasking. They wear business like a badge of honor. But the truth is, doing everything makes you effective at nothing. The strongest people understand that saying yes to everything is a silent form of weakness. It means you're afraid to choose, afraid to commit. But focus requires courage. It takes strength to say, this is what matters to me, and this is where I will direct my energy. A farmer doesn't scatter seeds across every inch of land he sees. He chooses fertile soil and works it daily. He waters it, nurtures it, protects it from weeds. And because of that consistency, he reaps a harvest. Life works the same way. When you invest your energy in the right places and do it with faithfulness, results come naturally. The strongest people don't rely on motivation, they rely on habits. They understand that motivation fades, but habits sustain. They don't wait to feel ready, they start and stay committed. They know that strength is built in the moments when quitting seems easier. It's in those quiet battles, those unseen efforts, where champions are made. Every person who has ever built something meaningful has lived this truth. A musician who practices daily becomes a master. An athlete who trains even when tired becomes unstoppable. An entrepreneur who keeps showing up despite failure becomes legendary. Consistency may not be loud, but it's powerful. It builds confidence. It earns trust. It transforms potential into proof. There's a reason why the strongest people are calm. They don't chase everything. They understand their mission. They know that strength isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. They aren't distracted by trends or noise. They wake up with purpose and go to sleep with peace because their energy is aligned with their values. The danger of doing everything is that you spread your power too thin. Imagine a magnifying glass under the sun. If you keep moving it, it burns nothing. But when you hold it still, focused on one point, the energy becomes so powerful it ignites fire. Your life works the same way. When your focus is scattered, your energy weakens. But when you direct it toward the right things, it becomes unstoppable. Strength is not proven by how much you can carry, but by how long you can endure. Doing everything burns you out. Doing the right things builds you up. It's better to walk steadily toward one goal than to sprint in 1,000 directions and collapse halfway. The strongest people are not the fastest starters, but the most consistent finishers. Consistency is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will stumble, you will fall, but what matters is that you get back up and keep doing the right things. The path to success is not built on giant leaps, but on small, faithful steps repeated daily. Those steps compound over time and create transformation. In daily life, you see it everywhere. The student who studies a little every day ends up outperforming the one who crams at the end. The worker who improves one skill at a time ends up leading the company. The person who saves a small amount consistently ends up wealthy. Greatness is built quietly, one choice at a time. The strongest people are those who don't chase applause, they chase improvement. They aren't distracted by what others are doing because they're committed to what they're becoming. Their focus isn't on doing everything. It's on doing what aligns with their vision. And every day they show up tired or inspired, rain or shine, they stay consistent. Because they know that strength is not in doing it once, but in doing it until it's done. Distraction is the silent killer of destiny. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It steals your potential piece by piece, minute by minute, until your dreams fade into the noise of wasted time. Most people never fail because they lack purpose. They fail because they cannot protect it. They are so consumed by constant distractions that their focus becomes fractured. Every beep, every scroll, every notification pulls them a little further away from the life they were meant to live. Imagine trying to drive to your destination while stopping at every flashing billboard on the road. You'd never get there. That's what distraction does. It decorates your path with comfort and entertainment while secretly delaying your arrival. The world has never been louder, and yet, true greatness requires silence. The mind that cannot sit still cannot build anything that lasts. Purpose demands concentration, but distraction seduces you with convenience. People wake up every morning with dreams in their hearts, but before they take their first breath of gratitude, they reach for their phones. They scroll through other people's lives, compare their beginnings to someone else's highlight reel, and wonder why they feel lost. They were supposed to start their day with intention, but instead they started with interruption. Purpose doesn't live in chaos, it lives in clarity. Think about a farmer who has a field to cultivate. Every day he must water, plant, and protect the soil. But if he keeps leaving the field to chase butterflies, his harvest will die. That's exactly how most people live. They have purpose waiting to grow, but they chase distractions instead. They want results without discipline, success without silence, reward without restraint. You cannot manage what you don't respect, and you cannot fulfill what you constantly neglect. Distraction is more dangerous than failure. Failure teaches you lessons, distraction keeps you from learning them. Failure at least moves you, distraction keeps you still. When you're addicted to distraction, you mistake movement for progress. You think you're doing something because you're busy, but business is just disguised avoidance. The mind convinces itself that it's productive when in reality, it's just escaping the work that matters. Look at a lion when it hunts. It doesn't chase every animal it sees. It waits, it observes, it locks in on one target. When the moment comes, it explodes with precision. That's focus. That's how purpose is managed. But imagine if the lion was distracted by every bird that flew by. It would starve. Most people are like that lion that forgot how to hunt. They start strong, but every distraction steals their hunger. Every interruption weakens their instinct. You have to protect your purpose like a lion guards its prey. Every time you give your attention to something that doesn't feed your vision, you starve your future. Your purpose is like a seed. It needs time, care, and focus to grow. If you keep digging it up to check if it's growing, it will die. Patience and persistence require protection from distraction. In daily life, distraction wears a friendly face. It tells you, just one more video, just one more scroll, you'll start tomorrow. And while you listen, time slips through your fingers. One moment turns into an hour, one day turns into a week. And before you know it, you've built a routine of avoidance. People don't realize that distraction is not entertainment, it's erosion. It slowly eats away at your potential, your creativity, your focus, your peace. The great achievers of history weren't smarter than everyone else. They were more focused. They had the same 24 hours, the same temptations, the same distractions. But they learned to master their attention. They understood that purpose is like fire. It dies without fuel. And the only fuel of purpose is focus. When you're addicted to distraction, your brain gets used to instant pleasure. You start craving stimulation instead of satisfaction. You lose the ability to sit in silence and think deeply. And yet, the greatest breakthroughs in life happen in silence. When the noise fades, wisdom speaks. When the screen goes dark, vision comes alive. People say they don't have time, but that's not true. They have time, it's just being stolen. Every unnecessary scroll, every meaningless argument, every hour spent comparing instead of creating is stolen time. Imagine how different your life could look if you gave that same attention to your goals, to your dreams, to your calling. The truth is, you can't manage what you can't measure. And most people never measure how much time distraction steals from them. They wake up and wonder why they feel unfulfilled, not realizing that distraction has quietly been robbing them of discipline. If you want to reclaim your life, start by reclaiming your attention. Think about a photographer adjusting the lens of his camera. When it's out of focus, everything looks blurry, even the most beautiful scene. But the moment he adjusts the lens, everything becomes clear. Your purpose is that image, and your focus is the lens. If your mind is scattered, your purpose will always seem distant. Clarity comes when distraction dies. You cannot build a masterpiece with a restless mind. Creation requires stillness. It's in the quiet moments that inspiration whispers. It's in focus that vision becomes form. Distraction tells you to rush. Purpose tells you to align. And until you break your addiction to distraction, you'll keep building half-finished dreams. There's power in learning to disconnect. Turn off the noise for an hour, and you'll be amazed how loud your purpose becomes. The mind that is constantly entertained cannot be enlightened. You need silence to see, solitude to think, and focus to build. You have to learn to guard your focus like treasure. Because it is. Your focus determines your future. Whatever you give attention to grows. If you feed distraction, it multiplies. If you feed your purpose, it flourishes. It's not the lack of opportunity that kills potential, it's the lack of focus. Most people aren't defeated by enemies. They're defeated by their own distractions. When you manage your focus, you manage your destiny. When you guard your attention, you guard your anointing. And when you finally silence the noise, you'll realize your purpose was never lost. It was just buried under the clutter of distraction. Most people think focus is something you're born with, like talent or intelligence. They believe some people just naturally have it while others don't. But that's not true. Focus isn't a gift, it's a discipline. It's a muscle. And like every muscle in your body, it gets stronger the more you train it. And the opposite is true too. The less you use it, the weaker it becomes. In today's world, we are surrounded by distractions pretending to be priorities. Your phone buzzes, your social feed updates, your mind jumps from one thought to another. People say they can't focus because there's too much going on. But the truth is, they never practiced focus long enough to master it. You can't expect mental strength if you keep feeding mental weakness. Think about going to the gym. If you try to lift a heavy weight on your first day, you'll struggle. Your arms will shake, your form will be bad, and your muscles will ache. But if you keep showing up, lifting a little every day, over time your strength grows. One day you'll lift that same weight easily. That's how focus works. It's not built in one day, it's built daily. The mind is just like the body. If you keep feeding it distractions, it gets lazy. It wants the easy things, the instant dopamine, the constant stimulation. But when you teach it to sit in silence, to stay on one task, to stay committed even when bored, you're training it to become powerful. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone, you're doing a mental rep. Every time you stay in the moment when your mind tries to wander, you're lifting the weight of discipline. People admire the calm, unshakable ones. Those who can sit in chaos and still move with precision. They think it's confidence, but it's not. It's focus. Those people train their minds to obey their vision. They refuse to let every noise steal their direction. They know that success doesn't come from doing everything, but from doing one thing with full attention. Look at a laser beam. It's just light, the same as sunlight. But when light is scattered, it warms. When it's focused, it cuts through steel. The difference is focus. Your potential is like that light. It's powerful, but scattered attention weakens it. When you learn to focus, you turn from ordinary to extraordinary. You start cutting through limitations that once looked impossible. There's a story of a young pianist who dreamed of performing on the world's biggest stages. At first, he practiced for hours, but his mind would drift. He'd stop, get distracted, start again, and never finish. One day his mentor told him, "You don't need more time, you need more focus." The young man started training his concentration. He turned off his phone, closed the door, and focused only on his keys. Slowly, his playing transformed. He wasn't just practicing music anymore, he was practicing mastery. And mastery is just focused repetition. In your daily life, the same principle applies. When you eat, eat. When you work, work. When you rest, rest. Don't mix them. Because when you try to do everything at once, you do nothing well. Multitasking is a trap that weakens focus. It gives you the illusion of productivity, but the reality of mediocrity. Powerful people don't scatter their energy. They channel it. They treat their attention like gold, not like confetti. The problem is most people are addicted to stimulation. They can't stand silence. They can't stay still. They constantly need something new. A sound, a screen, a scroll. But every time you give in to that craving, you lose a bit of your mental strength. It's like skipping your workout every day and wondering why you're weak. Focus grows through discomfort. It grows when you sit through boredom, when you persist through repetition, when you refuse to escape into distraction. Training focus doesn't require a special place or time. It happens in the small moments, when you choose to finish what you started, when you read a full page without checking your phone, when you listen to someone without interrupting. Those small acts build the muscle of attention. And over time, that muscle gives you control over your mind. You stop being a slave to distractions and start being the master of your direction. You'll notice something powerful when you start training your focus. Peace will follow. Because distraction doesn't just waste time, it creates anxiety. When your mind jumps from one thing to another, it never finds rest. But when you focus, you create order. When your energy moves in one direction, life feels simpler, lighter, clearer. That's the strength of trained focus. It doesn't just make you productive, it makes you powerful. The reason most dreams die is not because people don't have the talent or ideas. It's because they never stayed focused long enough to see them through. They start something, get excited, then get bored and move on to the next shiny thing. Every time they restart, they lose momentum. Focus is what builds momentum. It's the ability to stay where you are until what you see becomes real. Look at a marathon runner. The first few miles feel easy, but then fatigue sets in. The body wants to quit, the mind wants to escape. That's the moment when strength is built. Focus works the same way. It's built when you push through the point of mental fatigue. Every time you refuse to quit when your mind says stop, you're teaching your focus to endure. People often pray for success, but success requires concentration. It demands that you be present, alert, and intentional. You can't expect extraordinary results with a distracted mind. The world rewards those who can give full attention to what matters. Because attention is currency, whatever you spend it on grows. Training your focus is the most valuable investment you'll ever make. When you master your attention, you master your future. You'll begin to see opportunities others overlook, finish tasks others abandon, and achieve goals others only talk about. Because success is not about how much you do, but how deeply you do it. Focus transforms effort into excellence. It doesn't matter how chaotic the world becomes. If you train your focus, you'll always find clarity in the storm. If you learn to control your mind, no distraction can control your destiny. Every time you choose to stay centered, you're becoming stronger. Every time you discipline your attention, you're building power that cannot be taken away. That is the quiet strength that separates dreamers from achievers and the ordinary from the unstoppable. The world around you is loud, louder than it has ever been. There are voices coming from every direction. Advertisements fighting for your eyes, opinions shouting for your agreement, notifications begging for your reaction. And in the middle of that storm, there's you trying to think, trying to breathe, trying to move toward what matters. Every day becomes a battle between what's important and what's merely urgent, between what calls to your soul and what screams for your attention. Clarity isn't automatic, it's earned. Every morning when you wake up, you step into a mental battlefield where your focus will either be captured or conquered. You don't wake up focused, you wake up surrounded. From the second you open your eyes, distraction tries to negotiate with your destiny. Your phone lights up, your mind starts racing, your heart feels pulled in 1,000 directions. And yet, the ones who rise above the noise are the ones who choose clarity over chaos. They don't allow the day to control them. They set the tone for the day. They understand that every moment is a chance to take back their mind. Think about the ocean on a stormy day. When the waves are wild, you can't see what's beneath the surface. But when the water calms, the depth becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. When your thoughts are crashing into each other, when you're reacting instead of reflecting, you lose sight of your depth. But when you slow down, when you breathe, when you center your attention, clarity rises to the surface. That's why every day is a fight. It's not just about doing more. It's about seeing more clearly. People underestimate how much power clarity gives. Clarity gives direction, and direction gives energy. When you know exactly what you're fighting for, distractions lose their power. You stop wasting time chasing everything that looks good because you're focused on what's right for you. Confusion drains power, but clarity multiplies it. Most people feel tired not because they've done too much, but because they've done too much of what doesn't matter. Clarity removes the noise so you can hear your purpose again. Life constantly throws confusion your way. One moment you're confident about what you want, the next doubt creeps in. You start asking, am I on the right path? And before you know it, fear starts writing your story. That's why clarity must be protected. It's not something you find once, it's something you must renew daily. Every morning you have to realign your mind, remind yourself of what matters, and filter out the noise trying to drag you backward. Think about a photographer adjusting the lens of a camera. When the image is out of focus, everything looks blurry, even the most beautiful view. But once the lens is clear, the picture comes alive. That's how life works. Your dreams, your goals, your relationships, they're not broken, they're just out of focus. Clarity doesn't change the picture, it changes how you see it. And once you can see clearly, you can move confidently. In daily life, clarity demands discipline. It demands that you pause before reacting, that you think before speaking, that you plan before rushing. It's not easy because the world rewards speed, not depth. People brag about being busy, but rarely about being clear. But business without clarity is just movement without progress. You can be running fast in the wrong direction and still call it effort, but it's wasted energy. Clarity slows you down so you can move right. Every moment demands intentional attention because every distraction is an invitation to lose yourself. The mind naturally drifts. It looks for the easy path, the comfortable escape. That's why attention must be trained. Focus doesn't happen naturally. It's built through practice. When you sit in silence for 5 minutes without touching your phone, that's training. When you finish what you started, instead of switching to something new, that's training. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you strengthen your focus muscle. Look at an artist painting on a canvas. The artist can't afford to be half present. One wrong stroke and the vision gets lost. So they study the canvas, every detail, every color, every line. They give their full attention to that single moment. That's what intentional living looks like. Being fully where you are, not halfway in the past, not half dreaming of the future, but fully alive in the now. Because the now is where power lives. You can tell the difference between people who live with clarity and those who live in confusion. Those with clarity walk differently. They move with purpose. Their eyes don't dart around searching for validation. They don't get easily shaken by opinions. They know who they are and what they're after. But those who lack clarity drift. They chase every trend, follow every noise, and wonder why they feel lost. Drifting feels comfortable at first, but it always leads to disappointment. There's a story of a man who went to the woods to chop trees. The first day he worked all day with energy and excitement. By the third day he was exhausted and his results were small. Another man working beside him seemed to grow stronger each day. The first man asked, "How do you keep going like that?" The second replied, "Because I take time every morning to sharpen my axe." That's what clarity does. It sharpens your mind. It makes every action more effective. You can swing all day with a dull mind and get nowhere. Or you can pause, gain clarity, and move with precision. Clarity gives you peace. It allows you to say no without guilt, to walk away without confusion, to stand firm without fear. It's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing enough to take the next step. Life doesn't give you full maps. It gives you moments. And in each moment, your attention decides the direction. If you don't control your attention, someone else will. Companies, algorithms, and advertisements are fighting for it every second. They understand that if they can own your attention, they can shape your reality. But when you take control of your attention, you take back your power. You decide what enters your mind, what influences your emotions, what shapes your choices. And that control is the foundation of freedom. Every day is a fight for clarity because clarity is the doorway to destiny. Without it, your mind becomes a battlefield of unfinished thoughts and unfulfilled dreams. But with it, even the smallest step feels significant, even the quietest moment feels sacred. Clarity turns confusion into confidence, noise into focus, and ordinary moments into meaningful ones. And that fight for clarity, for presence, for attention, is the fight that defines the direction of your entire life. In a world filled with noise, the rarest thing is a focused mind. Every day, distractions line up at your door like uninvited guests. Social media, gossip, opinions, entertainment, comfort. They whisper, "Just a little break. Just one more scroll. Just a few more minutes." And before you know it, hours have vanished, energy has been drained, and your dreams are pushed one more day into the future. But those who rise above, those who make history, those who change the course of their destiny, they don't fall for the noise. They are too focused to be distracted. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's about building an inner shield that protects your attention from being stolen by things that don't serve your purpose. Because the truth is, not everything that demands your attention deserves it. Every distraction is a thief in disguise. It comes to steal your time, your peace, and your momentum. Those who achieve greatness have learned the art of saying no, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. They understand that focus is the bridge between potential and power. Think of a magnifying glass. When sunlight passes through it, it can burn through paper, but only when the light is focused. If the rays scatter, they warm but never ignite. That's how life works. When your energy is scattered across too many things, you feel busy but not productive, active but not advancing. But when your energy is focused, you become unstoppable. Focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary impact. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack direction. They chase too many goals, seek too many validations, and try to please too many people. They don't realize that success demands concentration. The greatest athletes, artists, and leaders all share one thing in common: an obsessive focus on their mission. They see what they want so clearly that distractions lose their attraction. Look at a lion when it hunts. It doesn't chase every animal it sees. It locks its eyes on one target, waits patiently, and moves with precision. That's focus. While others are scattered chasing everything, the lion waits for its moment. And when it strikes, it doesn't miss. In life, those who focus are lions, those who don't become the noise in the jungle. Focus requires sacrifice. It demands that you let go of comfort, entertainment, and even people who dilute your vision. It's not easy because distractions feel good. They give short-term pleasure. Focus, on the other hand, demands discipline and discomfort. But the pain of focus is temporary. The reward of achievement is permanent. When you stay focused while others drift, you build a future that others only dream about. Every successful person you admire once had 1,000 reasons to quit. But they didn't. They tuned out the noise, ignored the critics, and stayed locked in on their purpose. Steve Jobs once said, "Focusing is about saying no." He wasn't wrong. Every yes you say to distraction is a no to your destiny. Every time you give attention to things that don't matter, you weaken your power to create the life you want. In your daily life, distractions are everywhere. You might sit down to work for an hour, and suddenly your phone lights up. One message leads to 10. One video leads to a spiral, and before you know it, your goals are pushed to tomorrow. This cycle continues until years pass and you wonder where your dreams went. But the truth is, they were stolen one distraction at a time. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary isn't talent, it's focus. Ordinary people start things, extraordinary people finish them. Ordinary people dream, extraordinary people execute. Ordinary people talk about what they want, extraordinary people quietly build it while others are scrolling. Think of a student who decides to lock in on their studies for a year while everyone else is partying. At first, people laugh, call them boring, tell them they're missing out. But when results come, when success shines, the same people ask how they did it. And the answer is always the same: focus. The price of focus is high, but the cost of distraction is higher. The reason most people never reach their potential is not because they can't. It's because they won't stay focused long enough. Focus is consistency over intensity. It's not about doing something big one day and quitting the next. It's about showing up every day, even when it's boring, even when no one's watching. Because every moment of focus compounds into something massive over time. Imagine planting a seed. If you water it daily, protect it from weeds, and give it sunlight, it grows. But if you keep digging it up to see progress, you kill it. That's how dreams work. Every time you lose focus, you uproot your own growth. Stay planted. Keep watering your goals. Patience and focus will do what doubt and distraction never can. You have to protect your mind like it's sacred ground, because it is. Whatever gets your attention controls your direction. And whatever controls your direction determines your future. Your attention is your most valuable currency. Spend it wisely. Don't invest it in drama, comparison, or negativity. Invest it in purpose, in progress, in peace. Every distraction feels harmless until it becomes a habit. 1 hour lost today becomes a pattern tomorrow. That's why focus must be intentional. When you wake up, decide what matters today, write it down. Eliminate what doesn't align. And when distractions try to pull you away, remind yourself, my future depends on what I focus on now. There's something powerful about a person who can ignore noise. The world can't manipulate a focused mind. Critics lose their influence. Fear loses its grip. Failure becomes feedback, not defeat. Because when you're focused, your vision becomes louder than your environment. Your purpose becomes your protection. Those who stay focused in a distracted world become dangerous. Not because they harm others, but because they can't be stopped. They move differently, think differently, and live differently. While others are chasing attention, they're chasing alignment. While others are entertained by trends, they're building legacies. Focus turns the impossible into possible, dreams into results, and noise into silence. It's the foundation of every great story ever told. And when the world tries to pull you in 1,000 directions, remember, your future belongs to those who are too focused to be distracted. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide whether they will be a wanderer or a warrior. The wanderer drifts wherever the wind blows, chasing every noise, following every distraction. The warrior, however, is different. The warrior knows that peace is found in purpose, not in comfort. The warrior doesn't chase everything that glitters because they understand not everything that shines is gold. They know that clarity is power, and power is found in focus. You are not here by accident. You were born with a vision inside of you that only you can see. But that vision will not survive in a distracted mind. Every great destiny demands great discipline. You cannot fight for your future while feeding your distractions. The battlefield of destiny is not outside of you, it's within you. Your biggest war is not with people, not with circumstances, but with the noise that tries to pull you away from what truly matters. You must learn to silence the chaos, to quiet the noise, and to protect your peace. Because where your focus goes, your life flows. If your mind is scattered, your results will be scattered. But if your mind is aligned, the world will bend to your vision. So, stop looking at how far you still have to go and start looking at how far you've already come. You've survived storms that were designed to break you, yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still capable of becoming everything you were born to be. Don't let distraction steal your destiny. Every time you say, I'll do it later, remember that later is the graveyard where dreams are buried. Your focus is your weapon and your purpose is your battlefield. The one who learns to master attention masters the art of life. Don't trade long-term peace for short-term pleasure. Don't let the applause of the crowd make you forget the sound of your calling. You don't need the world to understand you. You just need to understand yourself. People will always have opinions. They'll always have noise. But their noise only has power if you give it your attention. Remember this: eagles never waste time with pigeons. They fly higher not because they hate the ground, but because their wings were never meant for small places. You too were built for higher altitudes. The greatest tragedy is not dying. It's living distracted and dying without ever becoming what you were meant to be. The richest place on earth is not the diamond mines or the oil fields. It's the graveyard filled with dreams that were never realized because someone was too distracted to act. Don't let your dream die in your head. Bring it to life. Feed it with focus. Water it with consistency. Protect it from distraction. You will never reach your destiny until your desire becomes louder than your distractions. Every legend, every leader, every world changer had moments of doubt, fear, and fatigue. But they pressed on. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They created progress through focus. The world honors those who finish, not those who start. So, stop waiting for motivation. Start moving with discipline. Success doesn't come to those who wish. It comes to those who work while others rest. You must tell yourself every day, my time is too precious to waste on what doesn't grow me. Tell yourself, I refuse to be another person with potential but no progress. Your greatness is not hidden. It's waiting behind the wall of your distractions. Tear that wall down. Rise above it. Focus like your future depends on it. Because it does. One day, people will look at your life and say, how did they do it? They'll see your success, but they'll never understand your focus. They'll see your glory, but never understand your grind. Because when you're truly focused, you stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand your vision. Focus gives you freedom. The freedom to choose purpose over pleasure, growth over gossip, legacy over likes. The clock is ticking. Every second you waste is a second you never get back. You don't have time to argue, complain, or compare. Life is too short to live distracted. Every day is a gift, and what you do with that gift determines whether you merely exist or truly live. Wake up with purpose. Go to bed with progress. And in between, guard your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. There is a version of you that exists beyond distraction. A version so powerful, so sharp, so unstoppable that even life storms bow in respect. That version is waiting for you to focus. When you give your energy to your purpose, the universe responds with opportunities, people, and blessings you never imagined. What you seek is seeking you, but it can only find you when you're focused. Remember, diamonds are just coal that stayed focused under pressure. They didn't quit when it got hard. They didn't shatter under heat. They endured. Pressure doesn't destroy the focused, it defines them. Every obstacle is a test asking, how bad do you want it? And your answer is not in your words, it's in your focus. Stop running after everything. Be still and build something. Your peace is more valuable than your popularity. Your focus is more powerful than your fear. Don't live for attention. Live for intention. You don't need to be seen. You need to be consistent. And when the time is right, your focus will make the noise for you. Don't ever forget, storms don't stop ships that know their direction. Distractions may shake you, delay you, or test you, but they can't destroy you unless you let them. Stay anchored in your purpose. Hold your vision even when the world around you is loud. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that your focus was your greatest act of faith. There's a fire inside you that distraction cannot kill. There's a voice within whispering, you're not done yet. Listen to that voice. Trust that energy, because the same fire that forged greatness in others burns inside you too. You just have to feed it with focus. So rise today and declare to yourself, I will not be distracted. Declare, I will not waste my potential. Declare, I will not let noise steal my voice. Because your story is not over. Your focus will write the next chapter. And when the world sees what you become, they'll realize that your silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Be the person who stayed focused when everyone else got lost. Be the one who kept building when others stopped believing. Be the example that proves that focus beats talent, passion, and luck every single time. The world doesn't need another distracted dreamer. It needs a focused doer. And if you can stay focused, the world will have no choice but to watch you rise.